Hi, Dead Gamer here. This is kind of a two-part video, I guess, and it started off when I was at work today, and I was thinking about Warhammer, and not really sharp on the YouTube thing, but if I figure out how to post a link below, I'll do that. There's a cat on this website also called Doom and Darkness. You can look him up. He's probably going to pop up fairly easily. It's Doom and Darkness. Type Warhammer, Doom and Darkness, whatever, you'll figure it out. But he did a little three-part series where he rambles on about a bunch of stuff, but most of the time it's hilarious and it's just fun to watch and or listen to, I should say. Not much watching. Well, yeah, unless you want to look at him or whatever he's doing. But more so just background sound while you work on the hobby. But Doom and Darkness had a three-part series that started off with basically, do you think about Warhammer at work? You know, and today at work I was thinking about Warhammer, and then I thought about Doom and Darkness, thinking about Warhammer, and you know, he was basically touching on how you always kind of have Warhammer. I mean, obviously, if you've got something important going on, you're not thinking about Warhammer, but the majority of the day, you know, our mundane lives, we're putting around doing our jobs, and are we thinking about Warhammer? And I would absolutely say I'm thinking about Warhammer constantly, you know, when I'm driving from a location to another location, or if, you know, I'm just sitting in the office doing time cards or whatever. I'm thinking about, oh yeah, I'm going to go home. I'm going to try to get this done. I'm going to work on this, you know, so I definitely think about it a lot. And then when I'm driving home in my, you know, commute from hell, it's 20 minutes to drive to work in the morning and then almost 2 hours to get home. Oh, yeah, the Bay Area. So, yeah, and I'm thinking about Warhammer, and I got to figure out how to do that podcast thing. I've got one of these phones, so I'm a construction guy, so I can't really listen to podcasts on those kind of phones, so maybe I'll, I don't know, figure something out, but that's all minor. What this video was originally going to be about, which, this segue a little bit, so I was, Doom and Darkness talked about Warhammer at work. The reason I wanted to make this video was not to talk about Doom and Darkness, talking about Warhammer at work. It was actually to make this video because I wanted to talk about bases. A little bit ago I did this Shadespire thing where I was talking about Shadespire bases and how awesome they are. And just how I was hoping the Games Workshop would put out something more of a universal base, you know, just something with some gravel already on it. I know that sounds lazy, but I talked about my reasons why with gravel and things like that. And you know, the bases they do put out now are either very futuristic driven or very Age of Sigmar high fantasy. I think that's the word, high fantasy. Maybe it's not, I don't know. But maybe high fantasy is like Lord of the Rings. I don't even know. I was trying to use something that makes me sound smarter than I am, but it's failing, so I'll just shut up. But you know what fantasy I'm talking about. Wacky fantasy as opposed to Lord of the Rings fantasy. So their new AOS bases are very wacky fantasy, reminiscent of like Silver Tower. And so I got a good word in there, reminiscent. So now I feel special. And now I'm going to take a sip of my Blanc de Noir from Sonoma County, because that's how I roll tonight, because it's Monday. It's not a beer night. Anyhow, so bases, and what I was thinking about today while I was at work, and I thought about Doom and Darkness, but we'll stop talking about him. You're welcome for the plug, by the way, Doom. So and Darkness. My thing on bases was I'm just curious if people, when they make an army or when they're working on their hobby, if they make their bases themed to the terrain that they're generally playing on, what I'm trying to say is, like, when I was a younger lad and was playing this game, you know, I had a very it was basically painted cat litter kind of a table. It was a 4x8 sheet of plywood, had it in the garage, and covered it in cat litter and white glue and or PVA glue, if this is being watched on the other, off the United States, off the continent, I should say, or maybe up in Canada too. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, PVA glue, white glue, whatever you want to call it, Elmer's glue. It was just a painted kind of Elmer's gluey cat litter table, and all my guys' bases looked just like that terrain. And then as time goes on, and I see people doing, you know, their models, especially with like the iron, what are they called? The ogre guys that are riding the big old crazy cow things, and the Thunder Tusk. Mornfang guys, that whole ice brigade, I don't even know what they're called. Yeah, those guys, that army, you know, a lot of times it's snow driven or snow themed. And I always thought it was weird in White Dwarf where you see like someone with lava bases, and then you see someone with snow bases, and then they're playing on a jungle planet. You know, it's just kind of like, well, you're playing on a jungle planet and there's no lava and there's no snow. And maybe that's just, I don't know. It's just always been weird to me. And I get that you're going to go, or if you're that kind of person, I probably won't ever. Well, I will maybe play in a game here or there somewhere else. But 99% of my games are going to be at home on my terrain tables. You know, or if I go to a game store, if I start doing that again. Because one of the local game stores here in Santa Clara does a Warhammer night. I think it's 40K though on Thursday night, I think it is. But if I start going to that, you know, am I bringing terrain or am I just using what's there? But even then, I don't really care, because most of the time when I'm truly enjoying the hobby, it's going to be at my house, my friends. And over the years, I collected so many armies, and well, there was the fire, but that's a different story. But as I'm rebuilding my armies, I am, you know, that's just stuff they'll play with. You know, a lot of guys have kids now, and they had to sell their stuff. A lot of their stuff they sold to me, and then I subsequently had it all burned up. Wasn't my fault, but no. But anyhow, so I was just curious what people were thinking about their bases, and do you guys, this is kind of weird that I'm asking the community to respond, and you can comment, I guess, or you can make a video and link it. I don't even really, like I said, I don't know how this works. I'm going to try, figure this out. My test is going to be putting a link to Doom and Darkness's video somewhere down there. Whoop. So maybe if that works, that's great. If it doesn't, you know, it is what it is. Just do the search on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find them. Or message me and I can send you the link if it's that bad, but I highly doubt it is. But anyway, so bases, like, because right now I'm sort of in the train of thought where, you know, I want to still do my natural dirt bases with tufts of grass. I'm not going to do lava, not going to do snow, not going to do desert. And then there's certain armies, too, that are very much themed towards those things, like the Tomb Kings. You know, they're desert army. So would you do them on a desert base and then put desert base on a jungle-type world? And that would just, to me, it would look weird. You know, but then again, I mean, maybe Tomb Kings on regular, like, dirt and grassy bases would look weird also. I never even really considered that. So, I know those ogre guys riding the big old cows wouldn't look strange on regular bases, because I think that snow theme was newer. That's like an Age of Sigmar thing. I didn't really play Fantasy, so before Age of Sigmar, so I don't know. But from the pictures I've seen on the internet and stuff, when they were all on square bases, they didn't look like they were vastly a snow-based army. It looked like just those Yetis were the only snow things. So, yeah. So, I don't know, guys. I just, and gals, excuse me. I ate all you can eat Indian food today. I mean, it was amazing, but god damn, it's still haunting me 7 hours later. So, bases. That's my thought. That's my question, and that's kind of where I'm at as I'm starting to get all my stuff back together and buy more stuff and, you know, recoup what I lost. Do I want to go with a themed kind of based thing, so every army has their own? Because that's nice, right? You know, you put that on the table. Yeah, that limits your terrain because you're kind of stuck with, you know, this grassy dirt stuff. But then, you know, the base of the board is going to be that grassy dirt, and then you're going to have buildings, and the buildings might have bases, and the bases might have cobblestone, like Mordheim stuff. You know, and when they're up on the Mordheim building, sure, they're going to look weird because they're standing in dirt, but they're supposed to be on planks. Like, you can't avoid that. But the majority, I guess, of the time, they're going to be on the regular table. And that regular table to me is just a brown and a green kind of look. So, you know, but I've also recognized and acknowledged the fact that some of these armies, such as Tomb Kings, it's a good example that I just thought of while I was talking, would they look strange on other bases? You know, I don't know. And maybe I should try that out and see what that looks like. Maybe paint up a couple of chariot bases with the grass and just put the chariot on top and kind of look at it. You know, and just be like, oh yeah, that doesn't look really good. Or you can do sort of maybe, well, that might look really weird. Never mind. Not even going to talk about that. But, so yeah, that's it. So this just kind of video was just a twofer. It was a little bit of mention to Doom and Darkness for his, you know, chatting about Warhammer and talking while he's driving his car. And then that all sprung from me thinking about bases today at work. Just putting together some models, and I'm thinking these Blight Kings or Blight Knights or whatever they're called. Yeah, putting them together, and I'm just thinking, well, when it comes to time to do the painting and everything, the bases, do I want these things like standing in some nasty ass Nurgle grossness? Because then the army alone sitting on the shelf would look coherent and pretty nice, but then on the table it would look a little weird. Or do I want to just go with my regular terrain that I usually use, and then regardless of what I throw down, it's going to look legit? Or do I throw that out the window? You know, I don't even know. I'm kind of in that place where they both sound good, you know, and I'm not going to sit there and magnetize the stuff or whatever. That's just stupid. But, I mean, if you do that, that's great. You've got way more patience than I do, but those magnets just irritate the living piss out of me, so I'm just not going to do it. Now, if you want to commission your services to me to drill in tiny ass little magnets in the heels of all my skeletons, and you'll do it on the cheap, I'm talking like a penny a model, I'm out. I'm game. I will do it. I will totally send you all my stuff, and you'll probably lose money on that deal, but that's probably the only way I'd magnetize them. And I'd need referrals too, or references from previous people, because I don't want to just send you my models and a bunch of pennies and then you just end up moving. That'd not be cool. That'd make me sad. So anyhow, thanks for watching again, and trying to get more comfortable doing these videos. I'm sure it's going to be a long time of me just ranting about stupid stuff, and till I kind of get a stride going, get my garage back in order from that fire, and start getting really cranking down on the hobby, which I'm thinking is going to be the better part of next year. So you're going to probably see a lot of crappy videos from me until then. Which, hey, it's just me warming up and stretching and flexing. as I'd say at work, you know, stretch and flex, reduce work-related injuries. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink some wine tonight. I'm going to pet Gray Baby. And I'm going to think about bases. And if you guys want to, reply below or make a video and send it to me, the link. Let me know. I know it's kind of early in the game because I've had, you know, half a dozen to a dozen views on these new videos I'm putting out, which is fine. I mean, that's great shit. I mean, someone on this planet cares, right? Which is pretty amazing, period. And I got 1 new subscriber, so thank you, new subscriber. That's pretty rad of you to subscribe. So, you know, I appreciate that. And hopefully I am entertaining to you guys. And I know my microphone sucks because I listened to this after. I go, God, my microphone sucks. And I know my camera sucks. But I've had this laptop for probably 6 years now. It's old. Maybe this Christmas, Black Friday is or this coming Thursday, Friday, because it starts technically on Black Thursday now. But maybe I'll pick up a new laptop this year. That might be a good idea. Something with a little better camera, a little better mic. Just come out of the dark ages, you know. But God, I'm getting fat. I'm looking at my cheeks, and I'm looking at my old videos below here. I'm pre-recording this on some Dell Webcam Central program. And I'm looking at some other ones. I'm like, geez, this is a dapper. Maybe it's, yeah, no, I'm just getting fatter. That's what it is. 'Tis the season. Depression will do that, kids. It's shitty. And so the alcohol's not helping either, but it's a coping mechanism until I can get my shit in gear. But I'm starting to feel better. In all honesty, I'm going to tell everybody that right now. Fear not. Dead Gamer almost said my name, which I don't even know if that's a thing. I know some people use their names, some people don't. I use Dead. Oh, you know, I'm going to do a video about why I chose the name Dead Gamer. That's coming out. Something else to watch. Boom.